Hey guys, Trevy the Great here again with another 40k battle report. This is part of my little battle report bonanza that I'm doing just because I haven't put many battle reports out for the last couple of weeks, so I decided to do a whole bunch all at once. So this is an awesome mirror matchup, Blood Angels versus Blood Angels. I think we've seen this sort of thing before on my channel. This one is at 2,000 points though, so I think it's a little bigger than previous Blood Angels on Blood Angels bashes. So yeah. The scenario is Dawn of War, so we get half the table to deploy in, and capture and control, so we each get one objective in our deployment zone. My opponent's objective is a little off screen off to the left-hand side. It's on that little tiny hill you can sort of see there right on the left-hand side of the screen. My objective is in the mass of troops that I have on that the ruin on the right-hand side. Now, those troops aren't actually deployed. I just it was very busy in the gaming store when I played this game, and I didn't have anywhere else to put them, so they ended up just going onto that sort of castle area. What I have deployed is a unit of scouts in the ruin in the center. I've deployed a tactical combat squad with a missile launcher, and it's up in the ruins there, just on the left hand side, like most side of the ruins. And then I've taken Mephiston, and he's behind the little ruined wall, sort of in the front of that building, on the right hand side. So I should probably go over army lists. I'm taking very similar to what I normally take. Sort of combined arm sort of force, which has 3 assault squads with Malta, Flamer, and Power Weapon, 2 tactical squads with Rhinos with additional Storm Bolters, and the tactical squads have Flamer and Missile Launcher, 2 Devastator squads with Missile Launchers, and 3 Sanguinary Priests, and to top it all off, a Scout squad with Camo Cloaks and a Missile Launcher, and the big man himself, Mephiston. Now, normally I take the Sanguinor in place of Mephiston, but I just got a new model to represent Mephiston. I got the Severed Loth model from Forge World, and I really just wanted to see how he was gonna run. I was a little afraid that he doesn't have an involved save and he might die really quickly, so I'm probably gonna play him a little more cautiously this game, but hopefully I'll get a little better with using him and getting those cover saves and keeping him alive. So we'll see how that goes. So my opponent took the first turn and go first, and I failed to seize the initiative. So he's got those 2 assault squads in the center there, as you can see, and then the assault squad on the right hand side behind that little square building. It has a what do you call it? A librarian in it. So there's that. So this is just a quick picture of the end of my opponent's turn. I'm just going to go over his army list real quickly. As you can see, he has 3 assault squads. Each one has a power fist and 2 melta-guns. He has 2 sanguinary priests. One's in the squad in the front there. One's in the squad that in the back that obviously just came on. He has 2 ball predators with the double heavy bolters and the assault cannons and storm bolters, so they're just getting maximum number of shots. He's also got a Land Raider Crusader with 5 Assault Terminators in them, and they have, I think, 2 Thunderhammer Storm Shield and 3 Lightning Claws. And then he's also got 2 Devastator squads with 4 Missile Launchers. So pretty similar army lists. He just opted to take, instead of my Scouts and my tactical squads, my opponent opted to take those vehicles and spend points on those instead of scoring units. So we'll see how that goes for him. So here is in my turn, my first turn, all my stuff comes up on the board. I have a whole lot of infantry in my army. I got like 60 something models, I think, so it's a real mess in there. As you can see, I brought my Rhino on the left hand side there. I brought it up next to those ruins to try to cut my opponent off from being able to get many models through and assaulting. I have 1 assault squad that's in the front next to the ruins. I have 1 assault squad up top in the top of the photo, that's by that little castle thing, and then I have 1 in the back. So what I'm hoping will happen is my opponent will move up an assault squad and assault one of my assault squads, and then I'm going to be able to jump in with 1 or 2 assault squads and just wipe him out really quickly. So that's what I'm hoping to happen. I've Mephiston in the front there behind the ruins. I'm going to use him sort of as either a tank killer, because my opponent does have a lot of armor, and a bit of insurance in case one of my farther units does get assaulted by one of his faster units. because if that unit survives, Mephiston's just going to be in there and probably like wipe out whatever unit assaulted them pretty quickly. So we'll see how that goes. All my squads have sanguinary priests. I think I forgot to mention that earlier. Um, Oh, my assault squads anyway. And then I have my two Devastator squads and my two tactical combat squads up in the castle there, sort of off the photo, off the picture. And the other combat squads with the Flamer and the Sergeant are in the two Rhinos. So there's that. I have a lot of troops on my objective, and I think I can hold it pretty easily. So bottom of round two, this is my opponent, as you can see, just basically pushed forward quite a bit. He moved very fast. He moved fast with his both of his predators. He popped smoke with the one in the front, and then moved his assault squads up. His assault squad in the bottom there was able to assault the scouts and wipe them out pretty easily, which was too bad. But I didn't really expect the scouts to get much done anyway, besides being a distraction. Seize ground, they're very useful because they do have infiltrate and scout, and they can jump on an objective and just sit there all game. But in this sort of game, they're not going to be able to do too much. And all I've done is just pulled one of his assault squads out of position. His assault squad in the center of the photo there has assaulted one of mine. He was only able to get 3 models through the gap I created with my Rhino because he didn't want to go through the terrain and risk not being able to assault at all. So that was very good for me because he wasn't able to get too many attacks off. I expected him to combo assault the Rhino as well with his Power Fist, but he didn't do that. He just decided to put as many attacks as he could into the assault squad, I guess, and didn't do too many casualties. He actually did roll pretty badly in this turn, and so not no fault of his own, but the dice were a little bit against him. And he only got a couple of wounds through, and I was able to make all my saves. So this is the end of round two. As you can see, basically I've just countered my opponent's advance. My Rhino has moved up and been able to put a bunch of wounds on that assault squad in the cover there at the bottom of the photo. I actually rolled really well for that. I was able to kill, I think, 2 or 3 assault marines with that Rhino. He rolled pretty badly on his armor save, so that was very lucky for me. My assault squad up top there has moved over behind that building, and they're going to try to put some melta-guns into the predators and hopefully kill them. I put an enormous number of missiles into the 2 predators, but the cover that they were getting really saved them, and I wasn't able to do any damage. I think I might have shaken one of them, but I wasn't really able to do anything. Other than that, I assaulted into the assault squad that had assaulted me with my assault squad. So did some wounds there, and I'm probably just going to crush that assault squad with a librarian pretty quickly in combat over the next coming turns. Okay, so I think I think I did skip a turn here by accident, and this is the top of round 4. What ended up happening in round 3 was basically I was able to kill my opponent's assault squad and his librarian with my 2 assault squads, albeit my assault squads were pretty weakened by that. But my opponent also moved up with his other assault squad, and I fired a bunch of missiles into it, wiped it out all but the Power Fist guy, and he's sort of sitting out there in the right hand side of the photo. I realized at this point that my opponent didn't actually have any troops choices on his objective. I don't know why he opted to just take Devastators and put them on his objective, but they weren't doing anything at all. I think they might have killed 1 tactical marine this far, and they put a wound on Mephiston, I think. But other than that, they weren't able to really do any damage whatsoever. And my opponent is left 1 objective lower than I am. And that will allow me to basically just hold off his troops over here and just win the game on my objectives, which changed the game quite a bit. So my opponent did move up with his assault squad and his 2 predators. I moved my assault squad over and assaulted one of the predators and blew it up, and Mephiston assaulted the other predator and blew it up. So the predators have been taken care of. Other than that, basically, I got to deal with those Terminators and that last assault squad. But after I do that, I pretty much have the game because all my opponent has is a bunch of non-scoring units. Okay, this is I think the end of my opponent's next turn or the beginning of mine. Sort of forgotten what's happened here, but anyway, what's happened is the Terminators piled out of the Land Raider. They assaulted the assault squad that was in front of them, and they rolled abysmally. It was really sad. they were able to kill, I think, 2 or 3 assault marines, and the assault marines were able to kill 3 terminators back. And I almost felt bad for doing them because it was pretty terrible. The terminators ended up breaking and running. I didn't catch them, so that opened the assault squad to move over next to the land raider there and shoot out with their melta-gun. They only ended up taking off the assault cannon, which they couldn't even see from their vantage point. So that must have been some pretty spectacular shooting. So there you go. The assault squad in the center there jumped in and I believe assaulted one of my assault squads, and I think wiped it out and then spread out. And my assault squad had Mephiston assaulted them back and wiped them out pretty easily. So that was that. That was after I shot at them with all my flamers and missile launchers and everything. Put a whole bunch of shooting into them. So that was pretty much the end of the game there. Basically, my opponent was left with a rallied Terminator squad that was too far away to do anything, and a Land Raider missing its assault cannon, and 2 Devastator squads at the end of turn 5. So he decided to call it there. We didn't even roll to go on turn 6 because there was pretty much no way he was going to be able to win. So obviously it was a good game to my opponent. The dice were a little bit against him in this game. His assault squad first in assaulting in the beginning of the game didn't do as much damage as it should have. The Terminators rolled abysmally, and just in general there was some pretty bad rolling on his side, and some pretty good rolling on mine. So that was a pretty big factor in the game. The other thing that really hindered my opponent was just not enough troops choices in his army. If he had taken at least just a combat squad or something, that would have changed the entire game. I'm sure he could have dropped a couple upgrades to take something like that, because what that would have forced me to do was to jump an assault squad over to his side of the board and take his objective, which would leave fewer squads on my objective and make it a lot easier for him to assault it and be able to do a lot of damage. So he didn't do that. I'm not sure why. Just poor army list building in that case, but that really allowed me to just hold my objective and beat off his forces and win the game that way. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed this battle report, and stay tuned for some more. I still got 2 more battle reports, I think, in this little bonanza that I'm doing, so stay tuned.